Nice to meet you. Now let's go. We passed the first stage of acceleration, the theoretical part. It hasn't been a search yet, but it has been the preparation for the search. Now, from this moment, the search starts. The process is very intensive. I ask you to go through it quickly, intensively, and fully charged. Don't lose the energy of the search. Let's start with the following. We will go deep in a very unusual way. Why unusual? Because in our consciousness, we are now here in this point. Remember this ball. There may be depression, there may be dissatisfaction with the situation, uncertainty, and so on. Now we are here, and it seems to us that our work, the end of the process, when we get a best job, when we go to work, it's so far away and unknown where. You and me need to go through the abyss of the search, and something will happen there. The whole problem is that we are still here in our consciousness. We will go in a very unusual way. We will start from the moment that it has already happened. So it means we have already found a job. And even more, I will specify it a little later. Look, here is a magical moment when we found a new opportunity. We got into a new qualitative state of ourselves. I often draw it with the form of a little light bulb, because people glow. They say, "Wow, I went to work, I'm happy, everything is fine, everything has happened." This is a magical moment. We come to work, we have stability, steadiness, etc. Here you can write, "Wow, oh yes, I went to work." This is the finish line, where our arrow should fly. What will happen to you and me before we go to work on our first day? We will be receiving a job offer. Before the job offer is given, or you have written agreement, or verbally formulated, they will say that this is the start day, this is the salary, these are the conditions, and so on. That is, when you have agreed with the employer, struck a deal, then consider that you have a verbal job offer. Until then, before we receive this offer, we have an interview. I will draw this picture. In school course of physics, maybe in 9th grade, if you remember, there were lenses like mine in glasses. There are all sorts of biconvex, biconcave lenses. I draw this whole picture as if there are such lenses in the process of the arrow flight. And as light passes through the lenses, in the same way, we will penetrate through these stages. I will not dwell on this now, but later it will become clear why I draw them like lenses. This is the interview period. These are face-to-face interviews. There can be from 1 to 6 of them, maybe more, when candidates are sent to meet different people, including the direct supervisor and the administrator, and they can be sent abroad to the headquarters of the company, if it is an international one. Here you go through all the interviews inside the company. Collect all the approvals. Then reach the final stage. As a result, the most important person approves you. Everyone inside the company agreed that you are the best candidate for them. This doesn't mean that you as a candidate are the best on the market, but you are the best for this organization, and they make a job offer for you. Before face-to-face interviews, usually telephone interviews take place. I draw the lens larger because there are usually more telephone interviews. These are telephone interviews when you call different companies, communicate, get access to some company in which you are going to work, but you don't know about it yet. You pass an interview there. Company offers you a job, you sign a contract and start to work. There is one point here, signing of a contract. I will designate it like this because it is not considered to be obligatory. Nevertheless, it is very important to the candidates, very desirable. I will designate it with the letter C, a contract. I recommend signing contracts to everyone from a janitor, driver, cleaner, any junior staff, to a general director. Please sign a contract with the company for any position. If you start work and the company does not sign any contract, does not formalize any of its obligations in written form, then there are no guarantees that you won't be, for example, used in a month and left without a salary at the end of the month. There are no obligations on their part, and you will not grab them for their hand. So here, in this case, it is our responsibility to minimize our risks associated with working in this company. We did this exercise where we looked at the risks of the employer, you remember. Now we will do the same for the employee. If we take this job, we also bear certain risks. So it is very important we sign a contract. I didn't draw it here because very often it is signed after starting work. In sustainable, huge corporations, there is a whole procedure for hiring, and therefore they first sign a contract and then they start work. Let's go back to the telephone interviews. How can we ensure the large number of telephone interviews? Now, I am not going to draw the whole scheme, but I will only simplify it a bit. Later on, when I get to the point of explaining the full scheme of the job search and what we will have to go through, I will complete the drawing. In order to guarantee the large number of telephone interviews, we need to ensure a large number of email contacts. We can have a fairly large number of them. To optimize our energy and not send out our resumes just anywhere, we need to be clear that all the emails without resumes will definitely reach our potential employers. Be attentive just now. Relatively speaking, if we are used to working in the gas state company, in the public sector, and we have never worked in business in our lives, we do not know how business works in general, what are the rules, procedures. And consequently, in the future, we want to keep working in state-owned companies only there. Then why should we send resumes to business? Is it right? There is no point. Therefore, to be effective, we need to email our resume to those search areas where we definitely hope to find a job. Firstly, we need to create a list of these areas. Here are the email addresses of the companies, organizations where we seek, for example, industry A, industry B, C, D, E, and so on, different industries, lists of email addresses. In order to figure out that you are very interested in these industries, firstly, you need to indicate where you are going to search. Here you create this list of industries, and at the end we get the industries that we need. To make a list of industries, we need an understanding of what actually exists on the market. Imagine all the opportunities, 100%. We are interested in a particular segment or little bits from everywhere. And in order to select these segments, firstly, we need to see the whole picture. Our task is to encircle the whole. Strange it may seem, this is an extremely necessary phase. And from my point of view, it is this phase of seeing the whole picture that guarantees that we will achieve our destination. If we didn't come to the whole, but just picked up different ideas, different pieces, after listening to what somebody said, why don't you go to this industry? And why don't you look for your job there? And just picked up some ideas about some areas, then most likely it will not work, or it will work in the wrong way. Now, if it did the list of industries in the wrong way, the huge lens that we will call full market, if we passed it immediately and jumped over, creating a list based on an unclear principle, then we will not achieve our final destination. Or in a worse chance, we will not get anywhere. Imagine, this is the holiness of different parts, different industries. There are a lot of them. We have designated for ourselves this slice and these two. Yours, where you will definitely be happy, is here. But we missed it. Because we didn't cover this whole, it will be missed. But we are destined to work here. Although it may seem to us that this place is very warm, straight hot, relatively speaking. I'm used to work in telecom and I want only a job in telecom, and so I look for a job in telecom. I knock at all the doors, but telecom does not respond. I'm speaking about me just now. And, for example, my destiny is to work just now in IT security. But I don't consider it, because I don't even come up with such an idea. When we look at the whole picture, all the ideas start coming into our minds based on the fact that we get a magical thing called observing the whole as much as it is possible to see. It is clear that we will not see the undercurrents, closed enterprises, organizations that are not listed anywhere. But as far as we can understand this whole, we need to embrace it, and based on this vision, make the correct, most complete list of industries which consists our best job. Before observing the whole, we need to observe ourselves as a whole. That is, we must have a good, ready-made, holistic description of ourselves, so that everything became clear about us to the employer. It will also be a cheat sheet to pass an interview, a resume, correctly written CV, curriculum vitae, or we usually call it life description, is essentially a cheat sheet on how to pass an interview. It also minimizes the interview time. I will talk it about later. It greatly minimizes the interview time and it makes all of our interviews very effective for both the candidates and employers. And during each interview, we'll be moving very close to the goal. We must have a vision of the whole market, and we must have a holistic vision of ourselves as a candidate. We designate candidates like this with a circle. This is our CV plus resume. You can also add a cover letter here. We need to go through the process of awareness for the definite success. The process of becoming aware about me as a person, a personality, a professional, a master. Up to date through my activities, to realize the current point of my life, who I am at this moment, and to realize what is my destination. Therefore, it is more about the experience than the path. Here we are going through a period that is associated with becoming conscious. This period of awareness will lead us to the best prepared two documents, the CV and the resume. Before we start the way to awareness, we need an understanding of our intentions, at least preliminary intentions. What we are going for, what should happen in our life. The first thing that should appear at this point, intentions, aspirations, and goals. Where we are now, what we did at the previous stage. We went through the theoretical part, we formed this section. If you remember, we sharpened our intentions like the point of an arrow with different people that we know. We sometimes say, sharpening the goal upon other people. This stage of sharpening the arrow is usually called the expertise stage. Expertise is a very important period. This sharpening that will allow us to hit our 10 points. I drew arrow targets circles, and here is the golden center, or a 10 point. So we need to strike directly to 10. We don't need to guess with work at 98 or 99%. Our goal is to strike 100%, where we need to get to. We do not need to create a situation when we will be hired because of hopelessness, like there were no other candidates. Let's take this one. He or she is not bad. Is not so bad. The same attitude will be also on your side. There are no other proposals. I will take this job due to hopelessness. So we will come to a so satisfying option, but unlikely it will give us happiness. It will hardly give something for the soul. Most likely this attitude will remain inside. Your next task is the part of our course. We will go through all the stages backwards, in reverse order. But the most interesting thing is what we will start with now. If you can see, I drew this little 10 point here. This is what will happen to us in a month, or month and a half, depending on your purposefulness, strength, and firmness of your intentions. Imagine that this moment is here and now. It is not where we are in this state of uncertainty, but we have already found this job right here and now. We striked our 10. As of today, we have already gone to work, and moreover, we have grown in it. And 3-4 years have passed. And we understand that we are completely happy here at this job, and that this work has come into our life in an amazing way. And it was what we really needed. I want us to start moving not from the moment when we are joyful, happy, we are glowing, we have found a job, everything is fine, this is the end. No, this is not the end. Let's try to look here. 3-4 years, if you want 5 or 10 years after you got this job. You came there and you gained a lot of fruit there. We talked about the difference between bearing fruits and results. That is what you achieved. Gained a lot of fruit here. The task is 3, 4, or 5, 10 years have passed. I'm already working in the company of my dreams or in an organization where I'm completely happy. What fruit did I manage to create as a creator? Because creators do not create results. Creators gain fruits, and each fruit generates new form of life as such an impulse for the next life. Relatively speaking, what impulses for the next new lives, or for creating the next new opportunities, or for other creative purposes have you managed to generate in a form of fruit that have benefited the world? This is your task now. Start working on it. Best regards.